Alright, hey boyos, what's up? Welcome to the very first episode of the Loner Movie Cast. It's a very clever name, I know, I'm well aware. I put a lot of thought into it, but here we go. We got a lot to talk about today. We're just going to talk about some movie news, the box office, and also I saw Zombieland Double Tap. So stick around for all of that, and of course, I recorded this a little later so we could talk about that Star Wars trailer that dropped today. So let's just get right into it with the box office of the weekend. So there's a lot of stuff that happened with the box office this weekend. First thing, the thing that came in first was Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Is that what it's called? Mistress of Evil? Yeah. Um, it only brought in $36 million, and this is its opening weekend. I'm sure it had a budget of about 150 million. It had to have. So it only making 36 million on its opening weekend. That's pretty telling. I can't even fathom. I've never seen the first one. I am not gonna see this one. I have no interest in it, and obviously no one else does either, because no one else is seeing it. It seems like they're really just advertising. Hey, look, it's Angelina Jolie, and that's cool and all, but not really something I'm interested in. In number two was Joker. Now this is huge. Joker brought in 29 million, and if I had to guess, I bet next week Joker's gonna top out Maleficent because nothing else is really coming out next week. So I'd have to guess Joker's probably gonna top it out. Um, Brought in 29 million, which brings it to a total gross of 247 million. Wow. Dude, for a rated R movie, that's insane. That's insanely huge. Um, I mean, that movie's been talked to death, so I'm not even going to get into it. Maybe I'll talk about it some other time, but I'm not even going to get into it. At number three was Zombieland 2 Double Tap, which I actually just saw. I'll be talking about it a little later in the movie cast today, so we'll talk about that later. 26 million. I'm sure the budget wasn't too huge on that one. Yeah, it looks like the budget was about 40 million. So it'll probably make its money back. Nothing huge, nothing too disappointing either. Um, the Adams Family brought in around 16 million at number 4. This is its second week, brings it to a total gross of 57 million. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that also didn't have a huge budget if I had to guess. But the real shocking one at number 5 is Gemini Man, and I'm pretty sure this is only its second weekend, and it only made $8 million. Dude, ooh, that that's low. That's super low. Dude, they're gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars on that movie. A big thing with that movie was that they were using all sorts of new technology, like 60 frames per second. And, dude, I'm sure that movie cost a gazillion dollars to make, and only making $8 million on its second weekend. Oof. That sucks, man. Well, Will Smith, it looks like you only have one more shot, and that's Bad Boys 2, or 3, or 5, whatever it is. Who fucking knows? Yeah, I mean, so that's the box office for the weekend. Who knows? I don't think anything huge is coming out next week, so I'm not even really going to talk about any predictions for next week. My biggest prediction is that Joker's probably going to top out at number 1. It's going to overpass Maleficent probably, if I had to guess. People seem interested in that Joker movie, man. I saw it twice, and I adore it, man. Very Taxi-esque, which brings me to my next topic. You like that segue? That's a hot segue right there, bro. All right, let's go to our next topic. Martin Scorsese's back in the news. Um, Recently, he came out and said that Marvel films are like amusement parks and are not really cinema. He responded to what he said after all the backlash. This is what he said. What has to be protected is the singular experience of experiencing a picture, ideally with an audience. But there's room for so many others now, and so many other ways. There's going to be crossovers completely. The value of a film that's like a theme park film, for example, the Marvel type pictures, where the theaters become amusement park, that's a different experience. I was saying earlier, it's not cinema. It's something else, whether you go for that or not. So it almost seems like he's like not totally opposed to it, but he's just like, this is not the cinema I know. This isn't the cinema I grew up with. I'm not used to it. And what I'd say to that is, you're crazy. Like, there's so many great films that are comic book films. Obviously, some of them are duds, but some of your movies are duds, my guy. Like, come on now. And it's crazy because this guy started out doing genre films. But let's keep going here. Francis Ford Coppola came out. He came out right after Scorsese and decided to say some crazy shit. All right, let me just read this quote and we'll get into it. Here's Francis Ford Coppola. When Martin Scorsese says that the Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right. Because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again. Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I just say it is. So Francis Ford Coppola thinks Marvel movies are despicable and they're not cinema. That's insane, man. Does he realize what he's saying? Like, Marvel movies are literally the only thing keeping movie theaters opened right now. He just sounds like an old guy that's bitter. And it's crazy, like I was saying earlier, these guys started out doing genre films. They were doing genre films. The Godfather movies are genre films. They're fantastic films. They're great. But why can't someone direct a superhero movie? I mean, look at Joker, for God's sakes. Wow. Okay, so my disc just crashed and I had to restart. Luckily, I didn't say too much more. But the Joker, for example. The Joker is a great character study of Arthur Fleck, right? It's a great character study. Even go back, and if you want to bring it back to Marvel movies, I mean, look at a movie like the original Iron Man. The original Iron Man is a great character journey. Tony Stark starts off as sort of a misguided guy. He sells weapons to the wrong people, realizes he's doing the wrong thing, and his character develops. I mean, that could be said about so many of the Marvel movies. I mean, these are classic movies. Look at Logan. Like, Logan's a great example of character development and character progression. I really don't know where these guys get off. It's insane. I understand sort of where Scorsese's coming from, saying that, Marvel films feel more like an event, a theme park. Well, they are events. But you guys were around for event films as well. Like, Jurassic Park was an event film. You know what I mean? And Spielberg. And then, like, Star Wars. These are event films, and there's nothing wrong with event films, and it's not like other films don't exist. They still do exist, and actually they exist even more now, because you can look at, even Scorsese's film, The Irishman. maybe it wouldn't be funded by a studio to go to the theater, but it's being funded by Netflix. There's all sorts of new ways to make film, and yeah, it's not the classic let's go to the theater, but there's Fathom events now, which was never a thing. It's not the same five directors now. You can see movies from all sorts of people. My high school coach, when I was in high school, made a movie. That's not true. I never even had a high school coach. I'm just being dumb. Anyway, I can't keep going off on this. It's really, it's one thing to just say you don't like the films. It's another thing to say they're despicable. That's just insane. You're basically calling the audience dumb as well, which they're not. They're not dumb. So, in spite of you guys, we're going to move on to our next piece of news, which is a superhero story. It's about the Batman films. The Batman film starring Edward Cullen, Robert Pattinson of the Twilight movies. It came out that Zoe Kravitz is going to be playing Batwoman. So that's really cool. That's really good news. I think she'll be a great Batwoman. But the bad news is Jonah Hill is out. A few months ago, they announced that Jonah Hill was going to be in it. I don't know if they actually announced or just said that they were in talks with Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill's out. Seth Rogen is out. I don't know who they would have played. Jeffrey Wright is still in. He's probably going to be playing Commissioner Gordon. That's a great Gordon casting. But literally right after they said Jonah Hill isn't in the movie, they announced Paul Dano is going to be playing the Riddler. I actually think that's a really good choice. He's been in some great things, Swiss Army Man is fantastic. That's Paul Dano, right? Yeah, so that's cool. But it does kind of make me worried a little bit that Jonah Hill is out. Maybe that the film is a little rocky right now. It could also be that Jonah Hill is worried that these films might fail, which is understandable just looking at DC's track record. But it looks like DC's on the up and up. I mean, just from the films this year, their past few films really. Aquaman seemed to be a pretty huge success. Shazam maybe didn't make as much money as they were hoping, but definitely critically it was acclaimed. People liked it. And then of course Joker just came out. So it seems like DC's on the up and up as far as that go. And also Wonder Woman's coming out, Wonder Woman 89. That looks pretty cool as well. What else? I mean, Birds of Prey. That could be hit or miss. We'll see about that. But yeah, who knows why Jonah Hill stepped out. And apparently Seth Rogen said no as well. But Paul Dano, that'll be an interesting Riddler. A younger Riddler as well. So who knows? Also, earlier last week, people were talking about Ryan Reynolds meeting up with Marvel Studios. And everyone was like, oh, is Ryan Reynolds going to be a new superhero? And I was like, guys, remember, he's already a Marvel character. He's Deadpool. And literally the next day, it was announced that Deadpool is going to be rated R and that there will be Deadpool 3. So, looks like I was right. Deadpool 3 is coming. Deadpool 3 is going to be rated R. That's cool with me, man. I wasn't even really sure if we needed Deadpool 2. I enjoyed it just fine. I'll probably see Deadpool 3, but I'm not sure we even really need it, man. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah. The Star Wars trailer dropped today. You know what? Before I talk about it, I kind of want to watch it one more time, so hold on. I'm just going to pause. I'm going to watch it again, and then I'll just tell you what I think. Alright, so I rewatched it, and man, the visuals look real nice. I have no idea what this movie is going to really be about. Obviously, Palpatine is going to be a big part of it. It looks like Rey and Kylo Ren are working together. Looks like C-3PO is going to be put inside of the Millennium Falcon or something. He wants to see his friends. I take that as him being put inside of the Falcon instead of SJW robot from Solo. Let's see. It's nice to see that there's actually going to be some scenes between Daisy Ridley and Poe Dameron, Rey and Poe Dameron, which I always found funny that like they didn't even meet in The Last Jedi or in The Force Awakens. They didn't meet in The Last Jedi until the very last scene of the movie. And these are supposed to be like our big three characters, you know, Rey, Finn, and Poe are supposed to kind of be our new Han, Luke, and Leia, but they haven't even met each other. It's just wild, man. That just blows my mind. But we're not talking about The Last Jedi. We're talking about Rise of Skywalker. And it looks like JJ knows what he's doing, although I have heard some interesting things. Like they've been trying out all sorts of different endings for test audiences. You know, I'm going to walk in with an open mind. I don't have high hopes. But I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and God, I hope they don't fuck it up, man. I really hope they don't fuck it up. But, yeah. Very last thing I want to talk about is Zombieland Double Tap. I saw Zombieland Double Tap today, and I have some thoughts. Basically, it's been 10 years since the first Zombieland. And if you don't know what the first Zombieland was, it was a movie that took place where there were zombies. Bill Murray's there, and craziness ensues. They have the original cast back in Zombieland Double Tap. They have Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, Harrison Ford. Whoa. Woody Harrelson and Abigail Breslin. Sorry, had Star Wars on the brain. They're all back, which is really nice to see. Woody Harrelson does a great job reprising his role. It seems like they haven't really skipped a beat. The nice thing about this movie is, 10 years have passed, and you can really feel it in their characters. You can tell that they've spent a lot of time together, and you feel it. Like Woody Harrelson feels a connection to Abigail Breslin's character. Like almost like a fatherly connection. She ends up leaving with some boy. Woody Harrelson is not having it. So they go on a crazy adventure. In the movie, there are new types of zombies that they kind of explain, and a few new characters as well. There's a nice cameo in there from Luke Wilson. There's a new character. Oh God, I can't think of her name. She's like the ditzy blonde character, which normally would worry me, but I think she did a really good job, and it was pretty funny. Actually, a lot of the scenes are funny, but I don't think it quite holds up to the original. It leaves a little to be desired, but it's definitely a good time, and I didn't expect much to begin with, and I came out pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a fun time. Definitely not as fun as the original. Emma Stone is fantastic in this movie. Woody Harrelson is great in this movie. Great performances all around, really. Just seems like the script left a lot to be desired. But still a fun, enjoyable time. And the end credits scene at the end is spectacular. And if they made a whole spin-off movie just about that end credits scene, the mid-credits scene, I would be thrilled, and I'd be rushing out the door to go see that movie. It'd be fantastic. But yeah, that's kind of been what I wanted to talk about today. I will see you next week with Loner Movie Cast, episode 2. So get hyped. There's no movies really coming out next week, so I have no idea what I'm going to see. But we'll figure it out. See you then.